The 2002 National Electrical Code, Section 300.22d, addresses conductors entering or leaving a building and their installation within a crawl space or similar enclosure. This section mandates that these conductors must be installed within a raceway. The rationale behind this requirement stems from the inherent characteristics of crawl spaces, which are often classified as hazardous locations due to various potential risks to electrical conductors. These risks include, but are not limited to, exposure to moisture, potential damage from pests, and other environmental hazards that could compromise the integrity and safety of the electrical system. A subpanel, in this context, is considered a building or structure. Consequently, when conductors are routed from the crawl space to supply power to the subpanel, they are effectively entering the structure from the crawl space environment. Therefore, to comply with the stipulations of Section 300.22d, these conductors must be installed within an approved raceway. This requirement exists to provide a robust physical barrier, safeguarding the conductors from the aforementioned hazards present in the crawl space. Raceways serve to protect the conductors from physical damage, such as abrasion or impact, which could occur due to movement within the crawl space or from external forces. They also offer a degree of protection against moisture ingress, which can lead to corrosion and electrical faults. Furthermore, raceways can deter pests from accessing and damaging the conductors, preventing potential short circuits or other electrical malfunctions. The selection of an appropriate raceway type is crucial to ensuring the effectiveness of this protective measure. Common raceway types suitable for this application include rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and rigid non-metallic conduit. Each of these options offers different levels of protection and suitability for specific environmental conditions. For instance, rigid metal conduit provides the highest level of physical protection and is often preferred in areas where the conductors are susceptible to significant impact or abrasion. Intermediate metal conduit offers a similar level of protection but is typically lighter and easier to install. Electrical metallic tubing is a lightweight option that is suitable for use in dry locations where physical protection requirements are less stringent. Rigid non-metallic conduit is corrosion resistant and is often used in damp or corrosive environments. In addition to the raceway requirement, it is essential to ensure that all other aspects of the electrical installation comply with the applicable provisions of the National Electrical Code. This includes proper grounding and bonding, overcurrent protection, and conductor sizing. Grounding and bonding are critical for ensuring that the electrical system is safe and that any fault currents are safely conducted back to the source. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, are designed to protect the conductors and equipment from overloads and short circuits. Proper conductor sizing is essential to ensure that the conductors are capable of carrying the intended load without overheating. When installing a subpanel in a crawl space, it is also important to consider the accessibility of the equipment. The National Electrical Code requires that electrical equipment be readily accessible for maintenance and repair. This means that the subpanel should be located in a location where it can be easily reached and inspected. In addition, the crawl space should be adequately ventilated to prevent the accumulation of moisture and condensation. Moisture can damage electrical equipment and create a safety hazard. Proper ventilation can help to keep the crawl space dry and prevent the growth of mold and mildew. Before beginning any electrical work, it is essential to consult with a qualified electrical inspector to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. A qualified electrical inspector can review the plans for the installation and inspect the work after it is completed to ensure that it meets the required standards. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is always best to err on the side of caution. By following the guidelines outlined in the National Electrical Code and consulting with a qualified electrical inspector, you can ensure that your electrical installation is safe and reliable. This also means following the manufacturer's instructions for any equipment being installed, such as the subpanel, breakers, and wiring. These instructions provide specific details about the proper installation and operation of the equipment. Failure to follow these instructions could result in damage to the equipment, electrical hazards, or even fire. In addition to the specific requirements for crawl spaces, it is important to be aware of the general requirements for electrical installations. The National Electrical Code provides detailed guidance on all aspects of electrical work, from wiring methods to grounding and bonding. It is essential to be familiar with these requirements and to follow them carefully. Some other important considerations when installing a subpanel include the load calculations, proper labeling, and the use of appropriate wiring methods. Load calculations are necessary to determine the size of the subpanel and the conductors that will feed it. The load calculation must take into account all of the loads that will be connected to the subpanel, including lighting, appliances, and equipment. Proper labeling is essential for identifying the circuits that are fed from the subpanel. Each circuit should be clearly labeled with its purpose and the location of the devices that it serves. This will make it easier to troubleshoot problems and perform maintenance in the future. The use of appropriate wiring methods is also crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of the electrical installation. The National Electrical Code specifies the types of wiring methods that are permitted for various applications. It is important to select a wiring method that is suitable for the environment in which it will be installed. For example, in damp or wet locations, it is necessary to use a wiring method that is listed for use in those locations. The National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements. The National Electrical Code is available from the National Fire Protection Association. Many local jurisdictions also adopt the National Electrical Code, so it is important to check with your local building department to determine which edition of the National Electrical Code is in effect in your area. In summary, when installing a subpanel in a crawl space, it is essential to comply with the requirements of Section 300.22d of the National Electrical Code, which mandates the use of raceways for conductors entering or leaving the building. This requirement is intended to protect the conductors from the hazards present in the crawl space environment. In addition, it is important to follow all other applicable provisions of the National Electrical Code, including proper grounding and bonding, overcurrent protection, conductor sizing, and accessibility requirements. By following these guidelines and consulting with a qualified electrical inspector, you can ensure that your electrical installation is safe and reliable. Consider also the importance of using properly rated equipment for the intended application. This includes selecting a subpanel with an appropriate amperage rating and using circuit breakers that are sized correctly for the circuits they protect. It is also essential to use conductors that are rated for the voltage and current they will be carrying. Using undersized conductors can lead to overheating and potential fire hazards. Furthermore, ensure that all connections are made properly and are tightened securely. Loose connections can cause arcing and overheating, which can also lead to fire hazards. When working with electricity, it is always best to take precautions and to double-check your work to ensure that everything is done correctly. If you are not comfortable performing the electrical work yourself, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to do the job. A qualified electrician has the knowledge and experience to perform the work safely and in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Finally, remember that electrical safety is an ongoing responsibility. It is important to periodically inspect your electrical system for any signs of damage or wear and tear. This includes checking for loose connections, frayed wires, and cracked insulation. If you find any problems, it is important to have them repaired promptly by a qualified electrician. By taking these steps, you can help to ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable for years to come.